I'm Stephanie Morris. I am the National Expansion Recruiter and the only TQLer in the state of Missouri. And my job basically is to, when I'm not on your college campuses, I'm looking at hundreds of resumes a day, usually 200 to 500 is my sourcing goal. And I am conducting anywhere from 1 to 10 interviews over the phone and via webcam. So hopefully I can give you guys some good information and answer any of your questions that you might have too. Overall though, if you have questions, hang back. If you have, you're looking for a little bit more exposure to this kind of stuff or some mock interviews, career services offices usually do provide that sort of stuff, but we're happy to do it on different formats. So if you want to do mock phone interviews or you want to do a mock video interview, just let me know, and each chapter definitely has my contact info, so I'm happy to do that. It's kind of easier on me because I don't have to travel. When it comes to what we're going to go over today, though, the interview itself, we're not going to go over the super obvious stuff. We are really going to focus on some of the stuff that comes up that maybe career services doesn't really touch on a ton. Katie Koch has an outstanding presentation today on using social media for your job search. It should be a part of your interview preparation as well. For you to know stuff about me is really important as your interviewer. Knowing that I'm a Delta Sig is really important. Can't tell you how many Delta Sigs I've interviewed that when I ask them about their contribution to the fraternity or why they joined, they tell me straight up to put something on their resume. Because they don't know that I'm a district director. They don't know that I'm part of one of the best alumni chapters in the U.S. And that I was a founding brother of a reactivated chapter. Do your homework. It'll take you places. It'll give you a leg up to know more of what questions to ask and the backgrounds of your actual hiring managers. To know where they came from and where they worked before. What brought them to that company? It's a great question. How long they've been there. What else they do over a regular day. Making a great first impression. Also a given. Smell nice, but not too nice. Coming neat and clean is really important, but more or less dressing to fit the company culture is really important, and the position's culture. So if you're applying for an accounting position or legal or something, that's a little bit more conservative in nature for your job, you probably want to go pretty conservative with your dress. If you're applying for a marketing or social media position or anything like that, you can wear your flair. Like, they kind of want you to do that to show your personality a little bit more. So just kind of keep that in mind. The whole idea of an interview is that it's you at your best. Like, this is as good as you get. For your appearance, for your communication style, for your energy. So just kind of keep that in mind. You're setting yourself up that this is me at my best. This is why you should hire me. Okay. And we'll watch a little bit of this before we move on.
Veterans who are thinking about going back to school have a number of different funding options.
G.I. Bill's
So a lot can go wrong.
When am I going to get promoted?
So how much vacation do I get?
Do you require a drug test, and what drugs do you test for? All. Is there any wiggle room on the testing date?
Is everyone here as cute as you are?
What is it exactly you guys do?
Okay, that's much better.
How extensive are your background checks?
Can we take a break for a second? I didn't know the questions were going to be this hard.
I've got to take this. Hello?
Can you ask that question one more time? I totally wasn't paying attention.
What perks will I get?
I tend to get bored really easily, kind of like right now.
I've done a lot of interviews in the last few days.
Oh, I just really need a job. Just had a lot going on lately. Great.
So how long would it take me to get to do the job you're doing?
I've heard you're easy to work for because you don't expect a lot.
right. So you have a certain degree of power as you're going through the interview process. You're not solely just at the whim of the company. There's some things that you need to do, however, to work with that power throughout the interview process. Number one is communicate. Can't stress it enough. I, as a recruiter, I know that you're on your cell phone all day. So when I call you, or I text you, or I send you an email, I do expect a response usually within 24 hours if you're really interested. And that's any questions, or looking to schedule, or confirmation, or feedback, or anything. Be there and own that part of the requirement for the communication for that relationship. I'll stop you, I don't have a problem with that whatsoever, it's part of my job, but those candidates that rise to the top of the TAC, they definitely communicate really well. So the process is a little bit different for every company. I just want to tell you a little bit about our process at TQL. It's definitely unique. The fastest that I've ever completed an interview process with a candidate is 1 week. The longest has been over the course of several months, just because they wanted to space that out, and we'll talk about that a little bit too, and how you can own that process by communicating. My interviews are all phone-based and webcam-based. It's virtual because I hire sales executives to relocate all across the country for their training and to live and work in different cities to help our company grow. So first round interview is a phone interview with myself. Typically lasts 40 to 60 minutes. From there, prior to the next round, there is an online simulation and quiz you have to take. The simulation is to shadow an actual logistics account executive on the sales floor, listen to their phone calls that they're making, the conversations that they're having, so you have an idea of the reality of the position. Because our interview process is virtual, we don't require you to travel to an office to interview. If you want to, that's fine. You're going to pay the money to do it, to make it happen. But what you would do at a face-to-face interview, shadowing on the sales floor, is the same thing that you do virtually in the simulation. So listen to the calls, take the quiz. You have to pass the quiz and follow the instructions on the quiz. And then the second round interviews again with myself via webcam. That's where the more behavioral-based interview questions come up. We spend about 30 to 45 minutes going through that information. And then before a final interview with the hiring manager, you actually have to do a homework assignment. It's a research assignment, and basically through that research, you're working to get a better feel for how big our company is, but also how big our industry is, and how we go about generating leads and just learning more about the industry as a whole. That has to be turned in before a final manager interview, and that is also via webcam. At the final manager interview, I will present an offer within 24 hours if you're going to get one, okay? What you need to know, and the big kicker throughout the process, is that every job offer comes with a timeline for your response. And job offers expire. Who knew that? Okay. So every company is a little bit different. If you're looking for a start date in a month or less, I give you 72 hours max to get back to me. If you're starting more than 45 days out, which most of our upcoming graduates are, you have 2 weeks to get back to me when I present you with that offer. So, offers expire. If you're not ready to make a decision, when your timeline ends up, we walk away. That's just how it goes. It's our company policy. Everybody gets the same amount of time. If you're not ready, you have to walk away. You're welcome to reapply in the future, but hopefully at that time you'll be ready to make a decision. Now, I mentioned a minute ago how you can really own that, and you do have some power through communication throughout the interview process. This will hold true for every single company. If you're very straightforward in communicating when you're going to be ready to make a decision for yourself, okay? I'm already hiring December grads and May grads for 2014. They're already committing to my company. We've hired more than 300 across the country already for May grads. Not everybody's ready, May grads, to accept a job offer in October or November. You know, you're just getting into this, it might feel too fast, not really sure. For those situations, know that you do have power. As long as you communicate to your primary contact, which will be me, your recruiter, throughout the process. I'm going to ask you a couple times throughout the process, when do you want to schedule the next interview for? If you want to wait until after Thanksgiving for the next round, I'm cool with that, because I want you to be comfortable in your decision and your commitment to my company. So know that you own that power, that you can schedule based on what you're comfortable with in most situations. If there are cutoff dates, they're going to let you know that. It's going to be very well communicated to you if there are deadlines and cutoffs associated with any sort of an interview process. What you need to know is that I can't put you in front of my hiring managers unless you're almost ready to make a decision. Because if they say, yes, I present you with an offer, then you have 2 weeks, and then I need to know if you're in or out. Okay? Who's involved? At TQL, the recruiter will host you through every phase of the interview process, which is pretty common. You'll have a primary contact that you can always go to with any questions and scheduling and feedback and all of that. But you're also going to interact with my coordinator. He does some scheduling, especially for the webcam stuff and the homework assignment stuff. And you're also going to interact with my hiring managers. They're going to be your supervisor. They're going to be live on the sales floor with you every day, and they're going to be training with you every single day. So making that first impression, it's not just their job to interview all day. They're hiring for their own team, and they're hiring for people that they want to work with and that they see potential in. So really get to know and research who you're going to be meeting with, for sure. Do you have any questions about that stuff? Okay.
When you say research,
Yeah.
you mean look them up on LinkedIn? Since they just posted their whole resume there and you can see everywhere they work.
Yeah. Google them, use LinkedIn. Google helps a lot because then you can even find out if they were a football star in college or something. You can bring up, War Eagle versus Alabama or whatever, and kind of get them talking a little bit more. If they're in the newspaper from their college days or for something that they do within the community as well, there's going to be something about them. Also on the company website, see if they're listed anywhere. Usually when you go to a company, just like a college website, there's a search bar on the homepage. Type in their name if you happen to know it. Or type in the department that you're interviewing for or something like that. And there should be some sort of it's not going to give you a ton of information within the company because it's obviously public, but there should be something that'll pop up for them with what committees they're on in the company or awards that they've won or whatever. The behavioral-based interviews are going to be across the board. You guys will get a good taste for this today. They're not always easy. They're not always super comfortable. I personally, my interview style is to make you as comfortable as possible so that you'll tell me anything I want to know. Probably a little bit too much if I make you too comfortable. But if you do give me too much or if you leave a hole, I'll dig and dig and dig and dig and dig. I'm a pretty aggressive recruiter until I get a real answer instead of a college answer or a career services approved answer. That's not really hitting you. Okay. The whole idea behind the behavioral-based interview questions, though, is not to make you guys jump through hoops whatsoever or to torture you, make you sweat. It's more about finding out about your past experiences. The logic is what you've done before, you're probably going to do again in a similar situation. So that's why we try to get you to tell stories about stuff. All of those questions are geared towards finding out about these core competencies. Now, they might vary a little bit, company to company for what they look for. They might vary a little bit team to team, manager to manager, position to position. Thank you. But in general, this is what we're looking for. Okay? There's a lot of ways to find and pull out those characteristics in you, but the stories that you're telling in response to those questions should paint a really good picture of how you fit in to what they're really looking for. So when you're asked behavioral-based interview questions, the first thing you should think is, why the hell are they asking me that question? What are they trying to get at? Which one of each are they trying to pull out of me? And gear your story towards the obvious, okay? Do you want me to leave that up? I can leave that up. Now, if you're uncertain about what they're asking for, go with your gut. At the end of the day, they want a real answer. They're not going to want something that is approved by career services. If you give them a pure career services answer, they'll probably ask for your real answer right after that, quite honestly. Career service is great though. Any questions about any of this stuff so far? Okay. Can I move on? Okay. So any question, regardless of what it is, they're going to be looking for those core competencies. So this question, I'm going to be looking for, did you wait? Did you hesitate? Did you go and ask someone to walk you through something, or did you go out on your own and make decisions, take action, and then kind of touch base from there? How much autonomy can you work with? How much self-motivation are you really going to bring to the table every day? And how comfortable are you in those types of situations? Do you need to be micromanaged? This particular question, work ethic's huge. For me, I typically focus on where your work ethic comes from, because I like to hear stories about mom, dad, and grandparents that work really hard and makes you a real person. I like to get you comfortable talking about people in your life and events in your life that can bring out these situations. But at the end of the day, I just want to hear that it's consistent, what your work ethic is, and I want to hear about something that you're passionate about, whether it's a person or an experience that you've been in. Doing whatever it takes to be the best. I want to see your competitive side. I want to see your drive, your consistency, your maturity. Any question that asks about failure or that asks about what you would do differently about anything, if any question that you're asked has a negative connotation whatsoever, don't focus on the negative. Don't focus about how bad the situation is or how annoying this girl in your group project was and she just did nothing. State the issue and then focus on the solution. Focus on the lesson you learned. Focus on what you would do different, how you fought back from that. And oh my God, only pick examples where you did try again, or there was an opportunity, or if you were given an opportunity, what you would have done different. Okay, always come up from that situation. Don't focus on the negative. Questions about that one? Obvious? All right. Frustration, another one. That's a negative connotation one. Focus on the solution, what you would have done different. This one's more about communication, more about maturity. Same thing. Doing what's best in the interest of our company, regardless of what all the cool kids are doing, or about maybe what someone tells you to do that you don't feel quite comfortable with. It's about your values. It's about having the best interest of the company in mind, regardless of the situation. So you don't want to get too personal on that sort of a question, but you definitely can pull on anything from school or from work experience as well. Elevator pitch. You guys will absolutely be asked, tell me a little bit about yourself today. Usually it's the first question in an interview to kind of get things started, right? You can approach this however you're comfortable. The fact is that you're able to talk about yourself for 30 seconds, okay? Usually people bring up a summary of their resume. They tell me where they're from, what they like to do for fun, within reason, something that they're proud of, school stuff, what they want to do, what they have done, work toward that. Questions about what you should include in an elevator pitch? Yes?
So you should definitely try to include things that are not on your resume?
Yeah, that's actually how I ask that question, thank you ma'am, is tell me, we're going to walk through your resume in the first interview. Start outside your resume. tell me where you're from, what you like to do for fun, hidden talents or special accomplishments that are outside your resume. And it brings a person to life, gets them talking, and it kind of puts them at ease. And then from there we work into a little bit more intense, obviously. But it's kind of a great icebreaker. So within reason, go outside your resume, but always bring it back towards what you want, for
It
sure.
doesn't necessarily have to relate to the job.
No. No. Any other questions?
Do you have any unique examples that you've seen yourself?
I talk to really competitive people, which typically they're gym rats as well, or they're really into fitness or something. So I love hearing about CrossFit type stuff. I love hearing about kind of adrenaline kickers, because it's just, fun stories. Or anything that has to do with sports is pretty fun. I had one guy that had gone to a Major League Baseball game in every single stadium across the country. It was something that him and his dad did over his college experience each weekend. So just little stuff like that. Anything that's kind of a unique situation is always a good one to kind of set yourself up, for sure. Any other questions, you guys? You can hang back if you have any more for me. You can grab some info about TQL if you like. And yeah, I have to dismiss you now. So thank you guys for coming.